Hello. Who's here?
Hello.
Hi, who's this?
Susan D. Robertus. I'm calling in.
Perfect. Awesome. How are you?
I'm okay. I've been really busy and regretfully have not done all the homework, but I want to be on the call and be with you and the group, so here I am.
That's, you know what, it happens. Life can be really fast paced sometimes, and we do our best to show up, and that's okay.
Yeah, that's exactly what's happened. Everything has sped up suddenly, but I called it in, so here it is.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Totally. Hi, Heidi.
Hi,
How are you?
I am well. How are you?
I'm good. Susan's here. She's on the phone.
Hi, Susan.
Hi, Steve.
I'm going to pull up. I wanted to pull up one of the maps that I saw, Sarah's map, so we could take a look at that. I'm going to sneeze. Excuse me. I've been vacillating from really hot to really cold. Okay, so Susan, tell me how far you did get again.
Oh, well, I'm still in the middle of doing the first homework. I'm still in module 1.
Okay, great. Have you done the meditation?
No.
Okay.
Nope.
Okay. It will, I'm just checking Facebook to see. I won't be able to make the call today. I have some after school mom duties, unbeknownst to me, of course.
Would you rather I spend this time and do the homework from module 1 and then listen to the recording on this call, on this,
No. Live is good. We'll just kind of dive into a few things and give you and look at some context of your own body. We might even do a meditation just to kind of get everyone centered in. And sometimes just creating the practice of looking at your body through a different lens instead of from the outside in, we find a new conversation.
Okay.
And that's really the goal. Remember, we had talked about on our first call, Susan, about holding you accountable to that judgment or releasing that judgment.
Yes.
And so this is really an opportunity for you to dive into looking at things through a new lens.
Okay.
Okay. So, Heidi, do you want to check in?
Sure. I'm really ungrounded and unsettled. Maybe we could have that meditation now.
Okay.
Does that work or no? Do you want me to? Do you want to wait until some more people come? My heart is racing and I'm shaky and.
Did you eat?
I am.
Okay.
Eating now. I just think that I've been just really in a lot of self-exploration and with B-School, and then spending a number of hours today, and it's been really Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, for 3 days I've kind of been underground. And it's a lot to process, when you're going through all of the questions and you're processing it in the shower, and it's
Mm.
It's a lot.
What's here now?
I'm not even sure. I can't really get a hold of it. I think a lot of it is just like overflow release. Like just it's just been bubbling and it needs to like come out over. There's a lot of shame.
Mm. And where's the shame coming from?
It's like a rod going from my belly button up into my throat. And I tried to find a necklace when I was getting dressed. I tried to find a necklace that would, because in like both of my drawings, I have a lot of throat chakra stuff going on. And so I tried to find something that would support that what was ever going on here. Oh man, I'm a mess.
It's okay, no judgment. So is it okay to pause for yourself and allow yourself a little bit of space and a little bit of freedom? You know, when we're constantly looking for the answers, we feel like we're pulling from a dry well, right? Because it's like we can only go in and search so much, because what it does when we keep looking and looking and looking, we're like, oh my God, it's not there. I need more. It's not there. I need more. And I know that you're in a period of introspection, reflection, so you can produce an outcome, right? But there's that natural flow of also taking space from it so that you can digest.
Yeah, I was thinking in terms of like how I'm mapping out this coursework that I'm doing, and Mondays and Tuesdays is going to be B school with other things that's going on or whatever. And then Wednesdays is going to be Create Your Soul Style. Thursdays is going to not be any kind of school. It's going to be just
Heidi Day.
Well, some Thursdays I have Journey Home to You with Laura, but that's just once a month. And then Wednesday afternoons is also blocked off. I mean, Friday afternoons is also blocked off for either B School, Catch Up, or Create Your Soul Style in the Facebook chat if
Right.
works in. So, and I've been really clear around protecting my weekends from this stuff or anything related to work or B School, because it's work really for me. So, yeah, so I feel like, okay, tomorrow I have a Journey Home to You call, which is a little bit easier lifting, and it's more just being held in a group and supported. So I think, but after that call, I'm going to be really excited to just kind of put it all down for a bit and let it marinate.
Yeah. So let's take a moment and we'll do the meditation. And what I want to come back to is actually finding the through line in all of this, Heidi, and go back to the shame, but giving yourself just a little bit of space to open up the body. It will allow Susan to take some time also to step into the meditation. Okay. So that we can just be together in that world of not looking at the outside of how our body looks, but actually really going from the inside out. And this is really to get in touch with your energetic world. So let's just put everything aside and put our arms down by our side. If you like to cross your legs, you can cross your legs. If you like to let them dangle down, I need to make a little bit of an adjustment here. Hold on. I sort of stick them under my desk. So taking a deep breath in and a deep breath out, closing the eyes and relaxing the shoulders. Inhale. Let your seat feel firmly planted on the chair, And again, take a deep breath in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold 2, 3, 4. And exhale 2, 3, 4. Inhale 1, 2, 3, 4. And exhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Allowing the breath to bring the body present, to bring yourself present into your body. Finding that harmony and connection. And we're going to go through the chakras. So starting at the base of the spine, your root chakra, the center of safety and security. Notice any images, textures and tones, sounds or sensations coming to you now. Allow your body to send you messages to show you what it wants to reveal. Take a deep breath in and out. Relaxing the shoulders, continuing to breathe. And rolling up to the sacral chakra at the belly button area and through the back. This is the center of creativity and money and relationship, sexuality. Take a deep breath in and out. And notice any images, textures and tones, sounds or sensations coming to you now. Allow your body to dictate to you what it needs to see, hear, feel, express. Let your body be your leader. Taking a deep breath in and out. Relaxing the shoulders, finding a sense of ease as we roll up to our solar plexus, our power center. This is where we project ourselves into the world with confidence, security, a deep inner knowing. Relaxing the shoulders, continuing to breathe. And notice any images, textures and tones, sounds or sensations coming to you now. Allow your body to reveal its deep wisdom. Taking a deep breath in and out. And rolling up to the heart center, feeling the sensation as you breathe deeply into your body. Notice any images, textures and tones, sounds or sensations coming to you now. Let your heart chakra speak to you. Let it reveal its deep wisdom. And rolling up to the throat chakra, this center of communication. This is where we do put creative expression out into the world. We put voice to our thoughts and our wisdom and our intuition. Taking a deep breath in and out. Notice any images, textures and tones, sounds or sensations coming to you now. Allow your body to speak its great wisdom. Allow yourself to receive the wisdom of your body. And continuing to breathe, rolling up to the third eye chakra, right between your brows. Taking a deep inhale and a deep, relaxing exhale. This is the center of awareness and intuition. Notice any images, textures and tones, sounds or sensations coming to you now. Allow yourself to receive all of your deep wisdom, all of your inner awareness. Let your imagination speak to you. Let your body share with you. And rolling up to the crown chakra on the top of your head, this is the center of spirituality, where you and the universe are connected. This is where your higher calling comes through. Taking a deep breath in and out. Notice any images, textures and tones, sounds or sensations coming to you now. Continuing to breathe deep, allowing yourself to feel a deep sense of relaxation and connectedness to your body. Take a deep breath in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And easy inhale, easy exhale. And gently open your eyes, ready to come to present. Okay. So I'm going to check in with Susan and just see how you're doing. That was your first time through the meditation?
Yeah. I've done meditation before, but yeah, with you. Yes, that was nice. My experience was second and third chakra were very energized.
Mm-hmm.
Throat chakra felt really good. And third eye was just better, more and more the sensation of just opening, just open expansion. And the seventh chakra, is that it? That was magnificent. That was where I saw and felt and experienced gold light and Vishnu or Buddha, godlike figure just sitting cross-legged, smiling, and just everything was love and happiness, and I was part of that. So that felt fabulous.
I love that. That's
yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, and that was it. Nothing felt bad or out of whack, or like the first chakra. There was nothing resonating one way or the other there. And same
Did
thing.
you see anything? Like, did anything come to like visualize, or did you hear things, or did you feel like a sensation?
No, there was nothing.
Okay.
And the heart chakra got a little warmer. It's really funny. I felt my bra on me, like, all of a sudden, like when you feel something is tight on you, like your watch or your bracelet or something.
Yeah.
Suddenly, I was focusing on my heart. All of a sudden, I felt my bra straps, and that, that's always annoying. But I just, I noticed that. That was the only sensation, and I didn't see colors or feel anything other than bra straps tightening.
Yeah.
Really weird, but that's what I felt. And then,
that's a physical sensation.
yeah, that is a physical sensation. Yes, yeah, that is. And then the fifth chakra, the throat chakra felt very empowered, and the third eye felt, like this is my element, and the seventh was just, wow, I want to be there.
What would you say you're focusing on right now in life is like what the work that you're doing and like what you're putting out into the world?
Well, the thing I'm focusing right now is a love relationship with my boyfriend.
Nice.
And, that has taken up so much headspace and time, and it's almost a distraction. I wanted to get done some homework today, and I just had our relationship going around and around in my head, because it's been a 10-year relationship on and off, and I'm looking for my guy, and I realize after all this time that it's him, and he realized the same. We both came to the same place this week, so it's really great, and it's miraculous, because I'm not his picture and he's not my picture, and it's funny.
And do you feel secure with that? Like, is it a good thing, or is it still undefined?
It is a good thing, and we're going to see each other this weekend. We're going to talk about it, and because we both want to make this work. So we're going to talk about, well, what does it look like, working for you and working for me? Like, what do we both need? What do we want? Because we never took this as, a serious relationship. We've both been denying our feelings. It's very strange. We've each been doing the same thing in our own way.
Right.
Yeah, we were both afraid of commitment. We're both afraid of being hurt by the other, and so we're pretending that it's, well, you're just, it's just a physical thing, and it's not. So
it's really interesting. The other reason why it's interesting is because the only place in your body that you found restriction was around your bra strap, and that's your heart.
Yeah, right. Mhm. Yeah, and that, well, I felt expansion actually, and then, just getting bigger.
No, I meant more like restricted by the actual bra strap, like the actual, like you had an expansive feeling, but then there was like a restriction there. And so it's like almost like a symbol around something that's been holding you back or has been held back. And now you're like learning to express it.
Yeah, exactly. I've been holding myself back from him and from my own self, experiencing what I've been feeling all the while. And, so now I'm really happy. I'm exhilarated. I'm just beyond, I'm looking at myself like, boy, are you silly. You have been doing this. Like, I broke up with this guy. I must have broken up with him, I think, about 7 times over the course of 10 years. But, I'm really happy that we both came to this. I'm very grateful that I have this. it's beyond belief, really, really is
I
funny.
think that's really awesome. I'm really excited for you. There's, I have to tell you this because it keeps coming up, and I'm just going to say it. Kate and Mike Watts, they do a podcast. It's the Kate and Mike Show. I don't know if you listen to podcasts, but they interviewed Terry Cole, who's an incredible love and relationships therapist, and just had some really great tips and pointers and things to look out for so that you can really just be conscious of this experience. I'd recommend popping it on and listening to it at some point when you have a chance.
Okay. How do I find them?
You can, you know what? Maybe I can just pull it up here and I'll put it in the Facebook group.
Oh, okay. Oh, thank you. Okay, cool.
That'll be the best way to get it. So, because you're on your phone, you won't be able to pull it up.
Yeah, okay. Oh, thanks. Thank you. Yeah.
They're really, it's a really good one. And it's just good reminders.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay.
So,
thank you.
Yeah, and we'll probably circle back a little bit too, but I just want, I'm going to move on to Heidi, and then I'm going to do a little bit of a riff, and then we'll see where we're at.
Okay.
Let me just do this before I get Susan. There you go. Okay, it's posted in the Facebook group now for you. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. So awesome. Okay. So Heights. And Susan, just so you know, after my riff, we might circle back and talk about some of the of your like life story and positioning and things like that. So once you kind of get a grasp on some of the topic, then we can possibly talk about it. Hey Heights, how you doing?
Better now, thank you. I love that my desk is also an altar of sorts with all of my tools and my Ganesh, who's been really, really helpful. And then I picked up the minute I sat down, I picked up this rock. Can you see?
I saw that. Yeah. It's beautiful.
My God, I love this rock. And I got it like a year ago. I was with you at the day that we went to that Lavish Earth store up the street.
From you?
From me?
Oh, yeah.
Was it a year ago or 2 years ago?
The new, yeah.
Yeah, so I got it there, and I hadn't really done anything with it until I got into Journey Home to You, and then this was kind of like Mother Earth, Universal Mother. Anyway, it's been sitting here, and I just want to like read this because it really speaks to like all of the things. So, it's called Cryokala, I think, Chrysokala. Not really sure. Literally is the earth. Just gaze at it in it and you know this. Look upon it and feel your connection to self and truth and to the natural wonder of it all. Use Chrysocolla as a conduit to the natural world when you are in need of the nurturing Mother Earth, that which only the earth, trees, animals, and minerals can provide. When you are at peace with nature and you are also at peace with yourself and humanity, physically, Chrysocolla is a match to the throat chakra and ailments that are affected in the area, including thyroid issues. Use your woody essential oils in conjunction with Chrysocolla. Sandalwood, I have cedarwood here, is a great match. Keywords: nurture, nature, peace, surrender.
Awesome.
And in the meditation, the root was swirly red. The sacral had like firecrackers, like flames coming up. Solar was just warm. Heart, like, had all kinds of things to say. A birthing process, chant of the pregnant goddess. Like, wants that poem.
In
the regular.
Yeah, sorry, I was like, how do I know that? Okay.
Yes, you do. It wants that. She just like, that kept coming up. And then I'm in the ovulation phase of my cycle. And then with the moon coming into new moon and where I am and balancing all of the things, like I feel like I got caught in this really cool synergistic like place of being in that like between the moon and my cycles and all of the things, in terms of living in source with nature, but then like having to balance it all out, and so it's an opportunity to craft some sustainability around the ebb and flow. It's a really fun time. This is the time in my, like I feel like in my cycle and in what I'm doing to really dig in, and then there'll be weeks when it's not as easy and then I want to take advantage of it while it's flowing,
Right.
because I know that there'll be an ebb. And
Yeah.
so I got to sort of manage that. Just because I can doesn't mean I should
Right.
soak it all up and put carts before horses and overdo myself. So a nice reminder of that. There was some surrender and throw. There was the trust in the timing, because like I just want to like yell from the rooftops and I don't quite know, and it's not all there. I mean, it is, but it's got to be situated. So just trust and timing and the process, and it'll be okay. So that felt good. Third eye was just straight up universal mother, just like, let's do this. And crown was very, it was subtle. There wasn't a lot really going on, but it was just an opening, like a drop the rope. Like I felt it come out of my hands. Like it was just like, okay, yes. So feeling much more in my body and much less shaky. I've had some shake, which has certainly helped. I think my blood sugar got too low.
Had you waited to just eat until now? Like,
Yeah.
You never had lunch?
No.
Okay. Okay.
I jumped in the shower and then got right into this, and I was like, oh crap, I forgot to eat, which isn't usually my problem. So it's a fine line there. And I had fun getting dressed. I went shopping, even though I know we're not supposed to go shopping. As you know, I had a baby shower. I needed to find some things. There's even, I just noticed when I was just about to hop on here that I couldn't change a little bit of evidence of my transgressions of popcorn with butter sauce on my new shirt. So I have to
put baby powder on that. Don't wash it. Go put baby powder on it right after and it'll pull it out.
Baby powder. Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I don't know that I have. Well, I must be able to find something.
Some sort of talcum powder.
Okay.
Powder. Not like baking soda, like baby powder.
Baby powder.
Yeah.
And not like spray and wash.
No. You need it will suck out the oil.
Okay.
And it'll be gone.
Amazing. See?
Yeah, don't wash it though.
Stylist tips for life. And I have my fun, cute new shoes on, and it was really fun. I wanted to talk about this in the Facebook group, but I didn't ever get to it. In terms of my Pinterest board, like I had done all that work and I had pinned a bunch of things and done a bunch of things, and then it just like when I went shopping, all of the things were just like right there. I could really see what I had envisioned come to life, and it gave me kind of a roadmap.
Right, it gave you some context. And
yeah,
that's awesome.
So what else? So I haven't really gotten totally through the essentials of life piece. I was hoping that
it's a big bite, and I'm gonna riff on it for a minute, and then we'll kind of like come back to center with each other. So one of the things that happens when we look at our life is that we look at all the different parts and our head gets like a little confused about what story to lead with and what's important and what's not important. And then we might have like an emotional charge that's actually giving us shame, but it's clouding judgment in all areas. And so if you start to really get clear, when you compartmentalize it and look at your life through those really crystal clear areas, and I'm going to pull mine out because I had a really good time doing it this week. You start to get clear about the through line. And the through line is really what we're looking for. I don't want to go through all the trauma and drama. Like, I don't want to like bring up everything. I am happy to go there if we need to get to the answer. That's fine. But know that this isn't about like being like, oh my God, I'm so broken, I need to be fixed. It's actually more about seeing the pattern. And I want you to look for the pattern that's starting to arise. A lot of times this week is like, it's one of those weeks where people just feel shook up. Like they're just like, I can't, obviously like there's less people on the call. They don't want to deal. They don't want to confront it. But here's the thing is once you find the pattern within your story, you have power, because knowledge is power. And when you can understand the thing that's like your undercurrent, then you can all of a sudden shift it and work towards what you desire to be. So when we look at the highs of your life, and I really, I should mark it as like the outer part of the circle is like the highs, and then the inner part is the fears or the lows. And for me, my lows are based around fear and anger, and they stick within the first and second chakra. And for the first time ever, this is so crazy, and I'll tell you how I got here. Last week, I had one of these experiences where I found a part of me that I had completely lost touch with. And my story had most of my life, since I was 6 years old, been about wounds and then building wound on top of wound. So from abuse to rapes to surgeries, like 13 surgeries, like ridiculous amount of assault and authority on my body. And so my whole life was about reclaiming authority of my body. And in running this course and teaching these principles to other women, I have to live up to that. Like I have to live up to my own work. And so I had said that it must have been last June that I needed to end my relationship. And so it took me almost 6 months to do that, to actually take the steps and do the work and make sure that I was doing the right thing to end that relationship. But I realized that there was actually still a lot of like subcurrent abuse mentality in the relationship. So there's no way I could thrive, because I was constantly being suppressed by this person in every single conversation. And so all I could do was live within that mentality of like, there is no love. I'm totally heartbroken. I feel broken. So I'm not a whole person because I'm actually just broken. And what came out of the work that I did last week, and so for the past 6 months, since October, I had been working with a trauma recovery therapist and really finding out different parts of me and empowering myself. And in that process, last week, I found this little girl who, this was pre-wound. This was the 2, 3, 4-year-old who was super wild, who was so fun, super charismatic, like the joy of life, like the life of the party. And she had a best friend, and her best friend was a boy, and we were kismet. We explored life on every single level together. We went to school together. We did adventures together. We ran away together. We got in trouble together. We slept together. We like went to the bathroom together. We did everything, but this was in like that innocent form, right? It was just like innocent playtime. And at 4, I moved to England and I left him. And I found this little girl that had a broken heart. And I was like, oh my God, this little girl who I thought was wounded my whole life, which yes, there were wounds for sure. But that whole time, every time I was approaching someone where I had guilt around being associated with people that were wounding me, like, because how is my story connected to people that harm me? I couldn't figure that out. And last week I figured that out. And it shifted my whole entire vibration of self. It shifted how I relate to myself. It shifted how I relate to the world. It shifted how I connect with other people. Because that little girl, every time she approached a person, was like, oh, are you the one? Are you that connection? Like I was constantly looking for that connection that I had at 2, 3, 4 years old, because that's where I found freedom. That's where I found play. That's where I found adventure. That's where I found like, oh, this is amazing. And when I could reassociate that I wasn't just this victim, that I wasn't just this girl that had had all this damage, but I actually was like this young, wild child that had a broken heart, which is like so innocent. I mean, I just had a broken heart. And then I kept showing up to people with a broken heart, being like, are you the one that can help me fix it? But not knowing that that's what the story was. And instead, going to them, asking for this subconsciously, and then all of a sudden getting their trauma or their deal or their like rejection or their inability to fulfill my needs thrown on me, and however they wanted to do it. So it's completely shifted how I look at my story and how I will, shift my own narrative within my brand. Well, I'm rebranding. I mean, it's just part of my journey now. Like, it's like, okay, how do we go this to take this into another level? So you will witness that rebrand process. So this is the never ending journey of personal development, which is why you just stick with the work and it will work. You just got to keep doing it. Now, when I look at my essentials of life, right, and I go through my wheel, the whole high part for the first time in my life has been about the heart, is about the heart now. I was pretty bitter before. Like, I'd be like, oh, all this love stuff. Like, I don't know what people are talking about. Like, I get that there's love, but like, whatever, love ain't happening to me. And there was like a lot of cynicism underneath, and I didn't understand that. But when I went through every single area and I looked at how I could rise to the occasion, how I could go to the biggest potential of myself, love was the answer. If I love what I do, if I love this situation, if I step into it. And I have never in my life been able to say that. Like, no way. And I would also like sort of downplay that like love is the answer, because I'd be like, oh my God, that's like hippie stuff, which I have definitely been a hippie, but I wasn't a free loving hippie. I maybe was a free loving hippie, but I was not very loving. Okay. I just sort of was like full of like this undercurrent resentment, which I didn't understand what that was. And what it really is heartbreak. So now I can shift my narrative around how I present myself into the world to have this really beautiful, heartfelt sensation, and knowing that like I need to bring more fun, and I need to bring more adventure, and I need to bring more contribution. And if I lead with those, that's where my success will come from. Because you know what? Money comes and goes, and it does not fulfill me. It has never fulfilled me if I have a lot and if I have none. It just has never. So if I can bring those three components forward for me, then I know that I'm having success. And contribution's a really big one that came up this time. What I realized is that everywhere in each area that I was actually keeping myself small because of fear. And fear of what other people think of me, fear of failure, fear of, harm or being, criticized, all of those things. And that's really what other people think of me, which honestly, in the grand scheme of things, doesn't matter what someone else thinks of you. Because if you're creating something out of nothing that is your inspiration to bring into the world, like that's your thing. And yes, feedback is great and helping fine tune and tweak, but like the big judgment system is not about fearing others, what they have to say. And I had a call with a client this morning, and she goes into doubt when she has transitions. And so, which is normal, but she is afraid of what other people will say when she just tries something on. And I mean, tries on clothing or tries on like a new arena to express herself. And oh yeah, I said to her, I go, well, you need to tell the doubt to take a hike, because there's no way you can shine out of self-doubt, right? Because that's like a suppressive emotion, and we're looking to raise you up and let you rise and meet yourself at the occasions that you desire to have in life. Now, when you can understand the components of how your story hits your body, it shifts the sensation of support, and it allows you to come to center in your body with compassion and with understanding and with a true reflection instead of objectifying and judging yourself. Because when you put a piece of clothing on and you're like, oh, my butt's too big, or oh, my belly's sticking out, it's like, okay, well, maybe we need to use a different like waist height, or maybe this article of clothing doesn't work for you, but it has nothing to do with your esteem or your persona. And when we can separate that, it has nothing to do with who you are. It is just a number and a cut of a garment. And when we can start to address the dysregulation and start to address the dysmorphic thinking around what our body actually looks like and how we feel in it, and then separate how we feel in our body to help raise what it looks like, right? So you're going to say, like, I'm going to go for the feel good thing before I go for just what it looks like, because you actually want to feel good in something. Like I tried on a pair of pants the other day and I was like, oh, I love these pants. They're just like a smidge too small. And they kind of cut me in half a little bit. And I'm like, oh, I could get away with it. Maybe yes, maybe no. That negotiation is exhausting. And if I have to keep doing that when I wear those pants, do you think I'm going to be fully present? Hell no. I'm going to be like, can they see my camel toe? Right? Like, it's like such a waste of time. So you have to know that. I know camel toe is a real thing with this body. And I have tried, I got 30 pounds skinnier than I am now, and it went away, but my pubic bone was all bone. And you need some, they call it PUFA, or you need some padding there. It's really healthy to have some padding there. So a little tangent on camel toe. So the goal is to find the power within yourself so you understand the through line of your story. So I shifted my own narrative by compartmentalizing and looking at the pieces and the components of myself, and also working on reclaiming aspects of myself. And when I could sit there and say, you know what, like, oh my God, my whole life I've actually been looking at myself through this victim lens and trying to be like, I'm the warrior, I'm going to overcome it, like, I'm going to do better, I'm going to make a change. And it's like, God, that's exhausting. And instead just say, like, I was actually a little girl that was heartbroken, and I've been looking to have that connection again. And that's where the power comes from, right? Because when you find that gentle place inside yourself around how you see yourself, well, then we don't have to objectify ourselves. Then we don't have to be critical. Then we don't have to look at ourselves and say, oh my God, I look so tired. I'm a bad person. I haven't given myself enough rest. Oh my God, I'm aging because I have some fine lines growing on my neck. Well, guess what? The aging process is real. You can be a goddess that never ages. You're still going to age a little bit. It's called reality. So finding those balances of how we talk to ourselves and the through line of our story. Now, the thing that was stopping me from success was the fact that I still kept myself in victim mode. So no matter how high I would rise, I would still fall back. I would still tumble back when I would do a social media post or a blog post to this little undercurrent victim mode tone. And I would overcompensate with being too, what's the word? Not aggressive, preachy. Let's just say too preachy, right? It's like, I know it all, to like, I'm a hot mess, right? And so when you can find the balance of the scales in your voice around that, and really know the place that you're coming from inside yourself, you can dress in the most powerful way. And you'll stop questioning yourself. And when you stop questioning yourself, well, that allows you to nurture yourself, that allows you to step up and step forward so that you are claiming the front seat in your brand and your life. So that's a little bit about how to shift your narrative and find the through line of your story. I'm going to unmute Susan to see if you want to have a little rap about that. Okay. You there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, cool. How did that resonate with you?
What you shared
Yeah, I mean,
about
how do you relate to it?
I think that that was a core theme that overshadowed your every interaction because you identified yourself with it. So of course it colored your world, in every interaction. And I think we, as human beings, we all have that happen when we're very young, and we make certain decisions in a nanosecond, and that becomes part of our DNA, so to speak.
Our truth. And did you feel like you could see, like, were there parts of your own story that came forward for you? I know you haven't gone down the actual work, but could you see aspects of your own story coming out that you were like, oh, yeah?
Well, actually, this is so funny that without doing the homework, this is really so bizarro that if you're in the conversation, you're in the space, and stuff will bubble up to the top.
Yeah.
So in past, I don't know, 2 weeks. I remembered, maybe it was 3 weeks. I don't know. But anyway, it was all with the boyfriend. His name is Peter, and I came like this close to breaking up with him yet again. And what stopped it was because I asked him to do something, and he didn't want to do it. And then something else happened. My car, the windshield wipers on my car just died. In the middle of a rainstorm, and I was supposed to meet him at a restaurant with our friend, and I wanted him to come and pick me up, and he refused to do that. He said, why don't you just drive up here and we'll all meet at the restaurant? And that really annoyed the hell out of me, Yeah. So then my windshield wiper, the windshield wipers go, and then I'm sitting there, and I call him, and I said, I'm stuck. Can you come and get me? So he has to come and get me anyway. And so, it's really funny. Well, it's not funny. It wasn't funny at the time, but I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, I'm fuming because I'm thinking to myself, of course, if this meatball came and picked me up like I wanted him to, I would not be stuck here like this, and he wouldn't have to come and get me, and we wouldn't be an hour late for our friends to have dinner, and and it was all his fault. So, and I didn't speak to him the rest of that night, and he knew I was really ticked off. And I realized the bottom line was, all of a sudden, this voice in my head said, "You were never first." And that was the premise. That was the thing that has, and I realized, my God, I am never first. And I was never first when I was 3 or 4 years old with my father and with my mother. I wasn't first with either of them. And I was the firstborn, and I was with them 5 years before my brother came along, and then 2 other siblings after that. But I was never first, and this impacted my feeling lovable, deserving of love, and I was very sad. I was crushed, that I would be left and they would be together, and I'm like chopped liver,
Yeah.
And they loved me and they did other things, but that, didn't matter because that was already, the die was cast. And then in my marriage, same thing. I marry a man who has a child from a previous marriage. I am never first. The son comes first, then my husband came, and then me and the marriage. And I divorced him.
Susan,
So,
does
yeah.
that ever affect your earning power?
No, I've always been able to make money. It hurts me in the area of being loved and giving love and being worthy, being deserving of love. And that was the key area. I mean, money and love are interchangeable. I understand that. But I've doubled my income, a couple of times, and so I see that I can do that.
Yeah.
The one area of my life that has always been screwed up is relationships, love. So I divorced my former husband because he did not love and cherish me the way I wanted to be loved and cherished, And then with this boyfriend of mine, I realized, I am never first. He chose to do whatever, he had stuff to do, but it's what I made it mean about me. And then I punish him for it, and I get really cold and nasty, and I withdraw, and that really undermines the whole relationship, and it ruins the very thing that I want to have. So I saw this that night.
Oh,
what?
I'm sorry, I interrupted you. Go ahead.
Yeah, I saw it. I saw all of that flash before me, and it was a huge breakthrough. And I shared it with him the next day when I, was able to articulate it, and he understood. He understood it. And then it's once I saw it, I realized I'm free of it because it doesn't mean what I made it mean about me. And I saw that, my boyfriend is an artist, and so his artistry, his creativity, his time is very important to him. So if he gives me what I need, I don't need 100% of his time and attention and devotion and, and all of that. I realized my neediness was attached to whoever I loved. They had to prove it to me, every 30 seconds that you love me. So yeah. I got rid of that. I dumped that off, and it was a huge weight off of me.
Oh, I love that. I love that you are, you're really deep in the journey and you really can grasp that.
Yeah. And as a result, I was going to break up with him, and it's come the other way now because I realized what I do have with him, and he told me he's in love with me, and it's just a whole new universe here. It's like really, I could never have guessed this like a month ago, that I would feel this way towards him and it would be like this ever.
So awesome. What a beautiful transition and transformation.
Yeah.
Have you been dressing differently at all since that experience?
Have I what?
Been dressing differently at all since that experience?
I've been dressing more edgy. I realize that's the part of me that is sort of unspoken, and I got my hair cut I got my hair cut this past Saturday, and I don't know if you ever watch House of Cards with Robin Wright.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so my haircut looks like her. It looks like between her and Sharon Stone, kind of. I'm in between the two of them. They're my role models.
Nice.
And So I got my hair cut. This coming weekend, I'm going to put a blue streak in it. And I just feel entirely different. I really do. I have been processing everything that's happened between me with me and me with him, and it's a whole different experience. You know, I feel like I am more fully myself. A part of me is gathered back into me rather than having to hold it outside of me to protect it, you know?
Yeah. That's awesome.
Because that takes a lot of work, a lot of energy goes into withholding your heart from yourself.
Of course it does. I mean, I feel like I've been on that similar journey. I just need to put a pin in this for 1 second because I'm realizing something and I'm feeling really guilty. We had our clocks shifted on Sunday, and I'm realizing that you guys are in another country and are on a different time zone, like conversion and I never communicated that because I don't know. I don't know. It didn't come. I wasn't even thinking of it. So I'm going to definitely stay on and stay in this conversation with you guys. So I'll stay on till 5 our time. So for another hour so that I can honor the fact that I didn't communicate that. So Susan, thank you so much for sharing your heart on that, because it was really important to show yourself and to communicate to us and reveal to us, you know, what you've claimed in your journey. And I'm super excited to see this aesthetic evolution of you and where it goes. So I'd love for you to jump into, you know, the coursework so you can really see, okay, like this is where this emotion is in my body and this is what my story is telling me, because I think it'll be very easy for you since you've tapped into the journey so much along your way.
Yeah, okay. All righty.
Thanks. Yeah. All right, so I'm going to mute you and I'm going to do a quick check-in with Helga. Hi.
Hi. Yes, I did. I didn't realize it was, you know,
time. Our snowstorms. I have been like, it's been a little bit of like time warp, alternate universe, and my sleep cycle's been off. Like by 3 hours, my sleep cycle's been off. So
Oh, I just thought it was, it's 8 o'clock at my time. We don't change the time here in Iceland, so.
I know, we shouldn't in America.
Well.
So I'll send out an email in the replay. I'll just make a note about the time change and how you're going to want to adjust everything back an hour.
Yeah.
On your calendars. So note to self. Does that make it harder for you guys to attend now? So like 7 for your time. What time is it for you, Catherine? A little bit harder? Yeah. So we'll see if we need to adjust, but okay. So did you get to the coursework, Helga?
Well, I started and I am always doing it so thoroughly that I never finish it, of course. But my main things that I need to work on really are my career and also contribution to the community. And it used to be the same. I felt when I was teaching that I was contributing to the society or the community by doing that. But since I left the workplace, it's my focus has not been on, well, it has been on totally different things.
Right, your daughter.
Yeah, and now I kind of need to get back into the big world.
Yeah. Because do you feel a sense of almost deprivation?
Well, I felt so much relief when I decided to quit my job that it was like, you know, heaven. But then it was like the universe started to throw at me different projects that I never asked for. So I've been busy doing, pretty much in caretaking of the family and relatives and my daughter.
Yeah. So here's the cool thing is that you can totally choose the direction, right? Like you have the power of that. And what I love for you to look at, first things first, doing a thorough job is great, right? Like it's super important to be investigative and almost like clinical about it, if you will. And then there's also this idea of just putting like the quick facts down so you don't get caught in the cycles.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I'm about to sneeze. It's like I have pepper up my nose. So when we look at like the highest experience, and that's almost like a dream state, because a lot of times when we look at like our high experience, we haven't gotten there yet, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when we look at the low, usually it's the worst experiences that we've had. I don't have a light to look at. It's like on my nose, sorry. So when you start to connect that to your body, you're integrating it into you. So you're connecting it to your energy and you're connecting it to your emotions. So you're making a tangible, real connection to your story, to how you feel inside your body. Now, I'm going to repeat a little bit about the narrative shift that I talked about when you guys before earlier, but I'm going to also ask you to go back and listen to the replay. Mm-hmm. And then about 30 minutes into the replay, you can like skip forward, is when I start talking about the how I shifted my narrative and how I did that this past week. And it was a very I went from an experience of being this like a victim, having abuse and rapes and 13 surgeries and all of these things that had happened to me, right? And I had a sense of guilt and shame for them happening to me. And I didn't know how to get away from the victimhood. And I kept trying to overcome it with like power, right? And like being aggressive and cool and edgy and like, and then it was like exhausting, and there was still self-doubt filled in there. And I started doing trauma therapy in October. So I've been working for 6 months with this guy on how to kind of open up into these spaces. And last week I tapped into a part of myself that I had completely forgotten. And I tapped into it because of a physical sensation. It was in my heart and in my throat, right? And it was like, what is here? How are we getting there? What's going on? And I saw this little girl. It was me from 234. And it was me connecting with a young boy who was my best friend up until I was 4 years old. And we did everything together, full adventures. But we moved to England and I left him when I was 4, and that broke my heart. And so from that moment forward, I started to connect with everyone looking for that same connection. Are you that person? Are you that person? Are we going to do it again here? Is it going to happen here? Right? And that super enthusiastic, awesome, I'll do anything for it. And unfortunately, the world isn't the nicest place. And, people would feel that connection and do their defense or whatever their deflection was or whatever they could do to push it away. And usually that's harm me, right? And then which creates the whole victim story. And it was like, this is like psychotic. So I was able to shift my narrative and just be like, oh, I was a young girl that had a broken heart that has been looking for that same connection again. Now, when we go, we look at our whole story, when we find that like that essence and that through line. So now I'm in this process of like rebranding my whole entire business because, well, I can't sustain on victim story, right? I can't sustain on powerful victim, right? Which is where I really sat. Now I'm like, oh no, I'm like this full of love person that had a broken heart, and now I'm embracing that. And so how that evolves, I don't know, you'll see. Like, I'm deep in the process. But you can see that when I filled out the sheet, the high experience for me was all love. So the outer part was the fourth chakra and love. Like, it was the sensation of love. I've never been able to tap into love on a deep level. Like, I kind of have a cynical thing around love, right? And like, it's too frou-frou. It's not real, because it never felt real to me because my heart was so broken. So this is how I want you to look a little bit deeper into, like, why do you want to focus on career? Why do you want to focus on contribution? What's the undercurrent that's pushing you there? What's the sensation in your body that's happening behind it, right? And we can go deeper into that, and you can spend the next couple coaching sessions really talking about that, because I think it evolves and unfolds as you go through the work. What I did notice is that for me, fear was at the center of everything. That was my low point. And I was not like living and thriving in life because I was afraid of what other people thought of me, my, failures or successes. So when we look at shifting it for you, Helga, it's like, what is that true mission, so that you can now stand up and use your voice in a way that feels sustainable? Because for me, talking about this new narrative, that feels totally sustainable. It does not feel exhausting. It feels inspiring. It feels real. It feels tangible, and it feels relevant.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Well, I have to mention that it was surprising to me when we went over my Pinterest board, that those romantic side of me that I didn't realize I have.
Yeah.
It was so, and you pointed it out, so I kind of been embracing that one. Okay. And like you, it's, my low is, it has been fear throughout my whole life.
Mm-hmm.
And
so,
where
do you feel the fear in your body?
In the throat.
Okay.
Yeah. And I feel like in the second, third chakra is more like.
It's more what?
It's more like anchor.
Okay.
And but it wants to come out. I want to use it as a, how do you say it? It's an energy. It's a strong energy. Mm-hmm. And I want to use it, what do you say, constructively, and having influence.
Yeah.
On
we maybe a good shift on it is justice?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Improving care.
Yeah.
Improving healthcare, really.
Okay. So with that said, second, third, okay, fears to speak up. What's the high feeling? What's the high, like, if you were to, the expansive, the high part of your vision?
It's excitement and joy.
Okay. And where do you feel that?
In my head. Third eye and the seventh chakra. Yeah, the crown.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And what about the romantic side? Where is that in your body?
That's in the heart.
Heart. Okay. Okay. So, and I want to ask one more question. I get the sense from you that you have a deep sense of security in life.
Well, I've always had what I felt, financial security.
Yeah.
I worked as an adolescent, every job I could take, and made a lot of money compared to with my peers. But and then when I went into nursing, I just made what nurses make.
Yeah.
But then I got married, and most of the time I was not working full-time job, but I was then also studying or doing something else. So I never really struggled.
Got it.
Yeah, financially.
Yes. And do you feel like in this process, as you're exploring, that there's any reality of that happening?
Struggling. I have really had fear of survival.
Okay.
Yeah.
That
So
you of being able to support yourself, or
well, what will happen if something happens to my husband? And that has been real.
okay.
So I kind of work through that, and I know deep in my heart that I will survive. I will be able to get job, and
Right. You have inner resources to pull on.
Yes.
Okay, cool. So if we were to look at like contribution, it almost feels like a nonprofit to me. I know that I don't know, like it feels, or it's like it can be like a for-profit with purpose.
Yeah.
That feels more right to you.
Well, it's the feeling it's non-profit, but
I know
I need to
like
have
not my
some
favorite word.
Yeah. But I probably need some minimal, income.
Yeah. Oh God, you would get income if it was nonprofit.
Yeah. I know. I get. Okay. Yeah.
It's more how it's positioned in society than it is on what you make. Yes, nonprofits are typically run leaner than a for-profit company, but you can still take a decent salary. Like you can still have a comparable salary. It's just that the funding process is a little different, and you're asking for money. Your survival skill, ability to fund yourself, like to go out and make money on your own, your level of skill with that justice seeking makes you like a super powerhouse. Do you feel that?
I'm beginning to feel that. Yeah. And I guess it has just been for the past several months.
Right.
So that I really, felt I need to do something about this.
Yeah. And I think really being conscious that the anger is a healthy fuel as long as it's not draining you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And I want it more to be a kind of a passion than anger, but it's injustice.
But you have to find justice first, right? Because that can be like, it's very, a lot of lawyers, they are justice seekers, and they are angry about a situation, and they correct it. They course correct things in the world legally because they have the skill, but also they have this technical level to make things right. But they use anger as a fuel. And it's to seek justice. So I think, if we look at like the compassion fatigue spectrum to the anger, making sure that you're balancing yourself out with like that nurturing, like romantic side, like really trying to infuse that into your world and find that balance. And I don't know what that looks like right now, but I think if you can really start to look at your narrative and look at physically what your body needs for support around that.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Awesome. Yeah. Okay. So I'm just, so I just want Sarah, we had a little mishap in the sense that we learned that it's not daylight savings, whatever, our clocks went back. And I know. And I didn't realize that I had to communicate it to you guys because I forget that the rest of the world doesn't do what we do, which is so silly, which we're all fed up with it because it's so disorientating. So I'm going to stay on the call longer so that I can be with you guys, but I already did a whole like thing earlier, which just watch in the replay because, you know, you'll catch up. So I'm just going to tap into Heidi so that you're not staying on the call for like hours and hours, Heidi, so that we can just, let me unmute. Are you unmuted? There we go. I think we were both unmuting you. So tell me when we're, you know, after we've kind of gone through this conversation with the through line of the story and connecting the body, what's coming up?
It's really fascinating. I just love this process. You are just so brilliant. I haven't told you that today.
Thank you.
I am with you on the low points, definitely anchoring in sacral and root, the sort of feed through emotions are shame, not enough, fear, sadness, anger, which I don't usually feel the anger. I usually just like to beat the crap out of myself and not actually, and be in that victim place rather than like, and get my studs out. So I was sort of excited when I was like, what is this that's going on? I'm like, okay, let's like find that rebel part and pull that out. So that was really cool.
So that's something to really bring forward in the sense of instead of inner perpetration, it's outer expression, right? Anger.
Right.
Not that you're like, I'm angry at the world.
No.
It's more
it's
like
a different way to move it. It's moving in a different direction.
Yeah. And so we'll look at next week, we'll look at the releasing factor of that, right? Because it can get toxic if it just sticks in there.
Right. One of the things that came up was fear of having to do it all by myself.
Do it alone.
From a very little girl.
And what does that come from?
It comes from being young and having young parents and having them in drinking and partying and doing their thing, and me being at the top of the stairs, really scared, eating cookies. And I kind of had a conversation with that little girl in relation to my health and well-being around, okay, well, let's just put the cookies down. You know, can you give me the cookies? And she was like, no, this is keeping me safe. I'm not going to drop the cookies. And so we just kind of talked about it back and forth. And when I really sat with, like, okay, what are you afraid of? Like, I've never really like answered that question. That little girl's been sitting up the stairs for so long. And so what is going on?
It's okay. We're here with you.
And it really came down to that I was afraid that my parents would die, that they would get hurt, or that, you know, because I couldn't tell if they were laughing or crying or being injured or whatever. And
they were hooting and hollering.
Right, doing what 25-year-olds do.
Mm-hmm.
Except for that they had a 5-year-old and a newborn upstairs.
Right.
And I was just afraid that I would be left alone and I would have to do it all by myself. And there has been this thread that comes through, and it connects to the financial and wealth around who's making the money and being an equal contributor in terms of making the money for our household, and how much I love that my husband makes money and I get to do my own thing, but I need to make money as well, and I want to make money. And
well, let's just shift it. You need to, or you want to?
I mean, both. I mean, I think that if I made more money, it would be less pressure on my husband. If I made more money, there would be more impact I could make in the world. And I want that, I want to level the playing field around that dynamic and that energy.
So wanting the freedom to do it.
Yeah. And I haven't really had that spur to like really do it because I haven't really had to, because I don't need to do it to necessarily pay rent. Although there's times when cash flow is not so fluid, where having money there and another revenue stream would be super helpful. So,
can I ask you something? Because
yeah.
do you know what level of wealth that you want? Like when you look at the financial section, are you aware of like what that wealth looks like and what that big picture is?
I know what the big picture is for sure. In terms of my contribution to that, I haven't like whittled it down to
Right.
that much, because I love the lifestyle that we do have.
Mm-hmm.
So
I think a lot of times when we look at like wealth building practices, it does take multiple streams of income to build the wealth. And, you know, they say in this day and age, it takes 7 streams of income to really balance the scales and build wealth, because one's going to be on a decline while another one's rising. And there's just this ebb and flow process. So it's really working on, you know, slowly building little pieces of that. And, you know, if you have 1 or 2 of the household responsibilities, that's great.
well, and I think that it comes back to, like, I've had to sort of been in this, I don't want to do it all by myself. I can't do it all by myself. And it's shifting to like the I can do it all by myself, mommy, wow, kind of like, all right, let's do this. And so that feeds into the hope and the excitement, and the opportunity. Those are the 3 words that keep coming up: hope, excitement, opportunity, and sustainability keep coming through on the higher points.
I love that.
Yeah, me too.
And where do you feel them?
Heart, solar plexus, and crown.
Awesome. And in the through line, what do you feel like? For me, I feel like it's communication. It's like acting from love is now and communicating that is my new through line. What do you feel like is your through line?
Is similar, because I know that, you know, I've been looking at this whole perfectionism and not enough and not worthy in relation to releasing my shame and doing that process that I've been doing. Mm-hmm. And it's become so clear to me over and over and over again. Every time I go through the cycle, every time I go through the process, the whole concept is all limiting beliefs. It's all me playing small. It's all self-sabotage. It's all just an excuse to get the brain cocktail bartender serving up all kinds of good crap to jump out to and keep me spiraling. Mm-hmm. It's no bueno.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. I haven't really gotten far enough along. I can get back to you on like how that like specifically articulates too, but like just dropping the whole stupid thing. It's so, like you said, exhausting.
But here's the thing. Being right where you are with awareness allows you to step into the next phase, right? But you have to admit where you are, right? And until you can say like, oh, I'm here, that's when the compassion can enter. That's when you go, oh, it's okay, I'm here. Now I know I'm here. And you can tell because you have sensations going on inside your body, right? And it's like, you don't get all kerfuddled and like frustrated and like angry and like, oh, and take it out on yourself and stuff a donut in your mouth. You go, okay, well, yes. I'm here.
What I do.
What's actually happening?
Right.
And then you can start to break it down instead of letting the sensations drive you. And then you can dress in a way to support how you actually need to be or how you want to be, right? You can manipulate how you need to be, or you can just be like, hey, I need to be chill, you know?
Well, and I mapped out sort of seasonal is a huge part of my brand and what I do and how I do it. And I was getting kind of that like choked up throat around the expectation, and am I strong enough, and can I do it, and again all that sort of cycle coming out. And what I mapped out were like the seasons where I wanted to not be working and seasons where I wanted to be working, so that I can measure it in September, October, November. Okay, that's when a high production, high visibility time of the year. Let's do it. And then November, December, January, February, go fertile void, follow the seasons. And then March, April, May, giddy up, let's go. And then June, July, August, rebrand, get ready, fall
Well, you
launch.
need to rebrand every
Well,
year.
no, regroup, re-nourish, replenish, whatever.
You
Not
don't need to
rebrand.
do
And
that
then
every year. That'd be so exhausting.
no, the whole fall launch. So that was like, okay, I can do this in the seasons with the moon and my body and my cycle and all the things. And that is exactly what I want to do and how I want the brand to ooze.
Yeah.
So that feels sustainable.
Awesome. Yay. That sounds really real and easy to do.
Yeah. And it's in nature. It's in sync. It's healthy godmother.
Yeah. Yay. Yay. Awesome. Good work.
I love you so much.
I love you too. I totally understand if you need to jump off because you've been on for a while.
I can stay. They've been here for me. I'll be there for them.
Okay, awesome. All right. All right. Catherine. Hi, darling.
Hello.
How you doing?
Yeah, good, thank you.
Good. So what's coming up?
I must admit, I've only done my just sort of answering the questions.
Yeah.
I didn't kind of understand the reality part. So it says, what's the lowest reality? Is that something that's happened to me? Or is that something that's just kind of in my head that I'm dreaming of?
So it is typically associated with what's happened to you in your life.
Mhm.
Yeah. And it's around, I mean, some people sometimes take it to like what could happen, right? Like the ultimate, like if I follow the fear, this is where I'm going to go, destitute. Like my biggest fear is homeless in Central Park, New York City, like not cool, right? And that was almost a reality for me when I got sick and I was living in New York and I wasn't sure where I was going to go, what I was going to do. And I was like, oh gosh, I have to have a plan. So it is, I do like to keep it within reason of like, like let's not go too wild with the imagination because we want to see patterns of your life.
Mm-hmm.
But know that your imagination does have a driving force in your life, right? And so you can kind of glean some insight off of that.
Mm-hmm.
And then when we look at the highest part, like the highest reality, I typically see that it's more aspirational because we're looking at where it can go, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's allowing you to tap into something that's greater in yourself, right? It's like you're like, oh, I can go here, and you're giving yourself permission to go there, right? And noting that they have to be like it has to be real-ish, like like it has to hit home constantly. It can't be like, I want to be like Beyonce, and like it has to be within like a real perspective, right? So, and that's like when I shifted myself, when I was like, oh, I've never actually felt all of my highs be in my heart center. And it just came from like actually doing the work of like finding that little girl. And like, I'm the first to be like, yeah, inner child work, it doesn't work. Like I was the first to be like poo-poo it. And now I'm like, oh man, he tricked me and got me to do it because he asked me to use my imagination, right?
Yeah. Oh, I love it.
So, and that's how we tapped into something that was actually real. But many times when I've done exercises like this, or I've created another persona that's attached to a story, but this one just happened to be like my true little girl.
Yeah.
So what came up for you, or like what obstacles happened?
Yeah, so just thinking about actually the family thing kind of got me.
Okay.
That
How so?
So you asked, is your family supportive of you? And I was like, well, not really.
Yeah.
My mum thinks I should just get a real job. She's retiring next year, and I have a master's in environmental management, and she wants me to have a real job so that I can get paid for the things that I've learned about.
Right.
And I'm training to be a life coach, but she doesn't know this.
And she doesn't have to know that either.
I can't tell her
No.
because she's not supportive.
Yeah.
But then further down, you asked, are you supportive of your family? And I sort of went, oh. So.
Yeah. So it's looking at it from two different sides of the coin, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But here's the thing, because I have the same like weird dynamic with my family too. It's similar-ish. We have to do what's best for us.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes that means like letting the parents go, letting them like do their thing.
Yeah.
And you can also look at it from the perspective of like, are you supportive of your new nuclear family, like your children and that, right? Like that's the other part that you can look at too.
Yeah. So, yeah, I try to be. I'm not as present as I want to be with them because I find them sort of just a little bit too much. I think because I'm an introvert and they're running rings around me.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, just shush.
Have you been able to teach them like downtime and soothing and self-soothing and practices where they actually learn to not run around wild?
No, I know they do meditation at school.
Mm-hmm.
And I do some Buddhist chanting, and they do that with me. They both go to yoga classes, so they can, if they wanted, they could do yoga at home.
Right. It would be interesting to help cultivate a little bit of that introverted side in you in them.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of health in an introvert, right? Like there's a lot of intelligence and integration inside an introverted personality. And having both extroverted and introverted is a really genius place to be.
Yeah.
And so, you can cultivate that in children.
Okay.
And really allow them, like the moments that you're like at your wit's end, you call the shots and say, okay, this is what we're doing now. Or like send them outside and say, I don't want you to come back until that energy is gone.
Yeah, could do.
Yeah. So what do you think like the undercurrent emotion is that has been coming up that's frustrating for you?
Just the stuck thing again, just being stuck. My whole of my back, my sort of lower back around my hips has just seized up, and it always happens because I was supposed to move on Friday and now I'm not, and it's just gone like that. And I did yoga yesterday. I can't shift it.
So would you say it's anger?
It's kind of part fear, part anger, part frustration. This kind of that.
Yeah.
And that, yeah.
And what's the story you're telling yourself?
I don't know, maybe that I'm just like a small town girl that doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't do anything big. I have to be here. But I want to be here. I've moved back to my hometown and I do feel so happy.
Do you think that that's true, that you're just a small town girl?
Yeah, kind of. I don't know.
Why do you feel that's true?
Because I'm not bold enough to speak
Because
up.
you're not what?
Bold enough to speak up.
Okay. What's that come from?
I don't know. I've had all sorts of therapy, and it's been sort of tracked back to when my grandfather died. And it's my mum's dad, and mum is a nurse, and so she spent time with him in his last week, just kind of making him comfortable. He died at home, but mum was away from our family home, so we were left with dad, which he wasn't a carer of any sort, and it was a case of, he hated having us on his own.
Yeah.
And then when mum came back, obviously grandpa had died, and that affected me because I felt I was special to him. I felt that even though he had a short temper, he really appreciated who I was. I was intelligent. I was allowed to sit with him while he did his crossword. And like most of the cousins, my sister weren't allowed to, because I had this ability to just sit still and quiet and maybe answer one or two questions. He was like, wow, this little thing can do that. And he really appreciated me. But then when he passed away and mum came home to our house, we tried to sort of be with her and see her and be in her presence. But dad was like, her father's just passed away. You can't be in her space. Just go away. And I remember hiding under the dining table, just crying, because grandpa had died. I wasn't allowed contact with mum, and we'd had this horrendous week with my dad just terrorizing us. So it was that kind of realizing the fragility of life. I was 10, and it all sort of like everything was like, wow, too much.
So where do you feel that in your body right now? Like that special girl who's lost her grandfather?
Just kind of right down here. Yeah. Always there.
I mean, for me, it feels like you're grieving and you actually were never given a chance to actually grieve.
Yeah, possibly.
Right? And you were not actually allowed to like be heard around your grief because your mom was grieving, which is understandable, but then you were being suppressed constantly, right? Because you're no longer special or important or super intelligent, which he was the one that was recognizing you for that.
Yeah.
What's happening now?
I think you're right. Although it has kind of been brought up in counselling or whatever hypnotherapy that I've had, it's never really been, they've never said, actually, cry about it. It's always been, so that's where it kind of broke. And that's where the self-doubt crept in. That's where the not wanting to be seen came in. That's where just all of these bits of just kind of hide and keep yourself to yourself, and they don't want to know who I am and how I feel. And yeah, it's weird that maybe I just haven't cried about it and let it out.
Do you like to write?
Yeah.
Okay. I'd love for you to do some writing around this. This is about reclaiming your voice here. This is really about putting some pen to paper. No one has to see it. This is really about finding that deep, deep grief in there, about losing the man that made you special in life, right? And it sounds like to me that you lost that spark because he disappeared. And I get it. I mean, I get that so much because I had my partner until I was 4, and then I lost that. And then life got really hard. Like, boom. Hard, hard, hard. Yeah, it looked good on the outside, but there were many crazy, uncomfortable, not cool situations.
Yeah.
So write about it. Just put some pen to paper on this. Keep staying with your body and this sensation. And as you write, check in with your body and ask your body what's going on.
Yeah.
And let's just put some voice on this so you can be heard by yourself. And when you start to allow yourself to be heard, then we can kind of start to like break down some of the barriers just as long as we know that, because the stuck feeling's real. Like that's a real thing. You're stuck. Like you're
Yeah.
stuck in this actually sense of not being worth it. And that's why the fear and the anger is in the first and second chakra, right? In the sacral area.
Yeah.
And in the back. So let's just put some voice on it in a very gentle, personal, quiet way.
Sounds nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
And maybe even, I mean, honestly, I don't know why I'm saying this. Maybe create a writing exercise time with your kids too.
Okay.
Yeah. They need to learn this other side of life, right?
It's more my son. He's the loud one. Isabella's, she's introverted. She likes to sit with a book or colouring things, and she will sit for hours doing that. It's very sweet. But it's, yeah, William is just runs room.
Yeah. Do you have a mini trampoline?
No.
Those are really good. The little ones that they can just jump on and just like put headphones on and they jump.
Okay.
Like so that they're listening to something, they're consuming noise, right? Their senses are working, their bodies are being physical. They're not spinning around your home, but they're just in a corner somewhere jumping, and they can't talk.
Sounds like a plan.
Yeah. Yeah. This is really important work, I think, to really find the source of the stuckness so that we can start to create some flow and some ease in there. Yeah. So let us know when you've done some writing. You don't have to share the writing with us, but just let us know how it felt.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. Yes.
Cool. Yay. Awesome. Is there anything else?
That'll do for now.
Okay. Cool.
Thank
Yay.
you.
All right. All right. Silky Slider. How you doing?
Yeah, not too bad. Better this week than last, I must say.
Your body's feeling a little better?
A little. I'm calming down a little bit.
Okay. From inflammation or from internal anxieties?
Anxiety.
Okay. About the work here or
Say again?
about the work we're doing or about just life in general?
The pain problems I've been having freaked me out really badly last week. I was getting very upset and emotional.
And it's a vicious cycle. When you start to get upset about it, it just increases the inflammation.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, did you make your list?
I did.
You did? How long is it?
I think it's about 30.
Oh, that's great.
It's not that many.
Yeah, it is. Keep going.
20. Yeah, a bit less. 25.
Okay. So try and get to 50.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did any of them, the people that you wrote down, feel like a potential partner resource?
Some do. Some people have already bought artwork from me and are kind of fans, but I don't think about it very often.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's really important to keep this list top of mind for you. Yeah. So were you
to disappear.
You know what I wanted to do, because I had pulled it up, is look at your chart that you drew. The colors were the chakras, is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Hello, I'm busy. I'll be with you in a bit.
So tell me, I'd love to know a little bit about what's going on here. Do you want me to pull up so everyone can see it? I can share my screen so everyone can see
Yeah,
it.
okay.
Okay. Can you guys see this? Is it really
Sweetie, I'll be with you very soon.
there? There. Can you guys see that? Hold on.
Bella, just a few minutes, love.
Have we lost you?
No, she's okay.
Okay. Okay, so can you guys see the screen? Sorry, can you just shake your head? I couldn't see you. So okay, cool. Awesome. Okay, so I love this. It's great when you have visual people in your group because you can see other ways to interpret the information, right? So tell me, this is like, I'm just like, I like really need to like sit with it because it's really awesome. What do you feel like was the major through line in your story?
There's this whole thing about being rejected, stroke abandoned.
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of those negative things come from that, really. And then on the positive side, it's all quite kind of feels very expansive and open. So freedom is probably, and there's this kind of bit like, is it Helga was talking about earlier about having kind of anger driven or fierce type of power energy. Some of that
Yes,
there.
like a justice energy.
Yeah, some kind of warrior power,
Yeah.
commanding kind of thing.
Yeah.
But also this sense of freedom and expansiveness.
Yeah.
And then so the safety is more like a contrast to the negative thing rather than a really powerful, strong thing. It's an element.
Yeah.
But
and I feel like a lot of this is like heart-centered.
yeah, there was a lot of heart things going on, especially on the top half.
Yeah.
And then I was looking at the categories and seeing how they fitted together.
So wild. I might have to implement this. I really like it.
I did 3 others, so there's loads of different ways I've tried it.
Have you posted them?
Not yet.
Oh, will you post them? I want to see them.
I could try. I think, yeah, okay. It was amazing how complex this is, but still it's starting to give something more shape to this.
Yeah, I know it is about kind of taking all the pieces of our life and then compartmentalizing them and then placing them so we can understand how to resource them inside our bodies.
Something I wondered was, should it be more balanced? Oh, sorry.
Hold on. Hi, what's up?
I have a question. So the outer line that like has a bracket around health and well-being, and then it goes all the way through social, friends, family. What is that? Tell me about that circle.
That was me trying to group things. So I kind of think friends, family, and love are kind of connected.
I see. Okay.
And then thinking, is there a pattern or is there some kind of link to do with the social relationships? And then the other one is like spirit and personal development is kind of more the internal things. And then around the top is career and wealth and more those kind of external stuff. So
right.
I was trying to look at it in that way. But patterns.
Do you feel like you want to do you want to like condense it all in a little bit neater, or like does it still feel too complex to you?
I did try to do that, and I kind of revisited all the questions because there's different bits with the trigger questions, and then there's the longer bit with the gaps and the spaces, and then you have to think about chakras. So I did find it quite detailed and complex, and I'm trying to revisit and review. But I think a big theme that came out that isn't really explicit in there is to do with money. So on my 3rd drawing, I started putting in little symbols about that.
Okay, cool.
Because in a lot of these areas, I currently feel pretty negative, probably because of what I've been going through with the pain and everything, and the fear around what that is about, because it's not yet diagnosed. and feeling like so many areas need and require money, and there's so little money coming in to feed it.
Yeah.
And then this thing of the family, that was the one where I realized I really don't have a happy section. So that should probably be pretty central to the
Right.
focus.
So tell me about the broken heart.
It's funny because it's actually, again, resonating with what Catherine and you have both said about being like brokenhearted as a child. And basically from going to boarding school, age turning 10, and I had a very good relationship with my younger brother. We were really close as children. And this completely shattered that relationship and all my best friend relationship. So I went away to school for a term in the UK where I was living in the Middle East. And after a term, came back for the holidays, and I just couldn't relate to anyone anymore.
Yeah.
I'd had an experience that I couldn't articulate.
A negative experience, or just your experience in the Middle East was so different that you just didn't know what to do?
Bit of both. There was like a massive culture gap, but also I was traumatized and had an extremely negative time that first term.
And did you
And
have
had
to
no
go back to that?
Yes.
Okay.
So in a way, the worst part was coming back and realizing that it wasn't gonna change, that no one was gonna help me. So
Oh. Okay.
it was pretty bad.
So that helplessness,
Mm,
where do you feel that?
right in the heart place, I guess, yeah. And in the solar plexus, like being punched in the stomach,
Yeah.
having the wind taken out.
Okay. So that's your core. That's it. That helplessness, it's like that's where it's to heal. So I just want to go back to your question that before Heights chimed in, was it felt like there was a lot of negative. Is that what you said? Or
At the moment, a lot of this is all felt very, quite bad. The reality part is really bad. The fantasy part is lots of nice, positive things.
right. So here's the thing. The knowledge is power, right? When you know where you are, then you can take informed action. But until you know where you are, it's like a shot in the dark, and you're like, oh, I'm gonna go over here, and I'm gonna go over here, and blah, blah, blah. But now that we know that there's like helpless part of you that doesn't know how to survive or sustain because you've been gutted, is what we call it. Like it's like a full on, like someone's taken a shovel and just like poured it out, right?
Yes.
Or dug it out. So our goal then is to protect that and build that up and build that to a place where you feel safe and sustainable. And then things like money just start coming in.
Yeah.
Right? Like as much as we want to think and worry about like the strategy of how to make money, which like I worry about that. I'm like, oh my God, is the money going to be there? Da, da, da. The money's always been there, and I've proven it time and again. And I've taken crazy risks, like left jobs and moved to Israel and been like, all right, I'm going to teach Reiki workshops. Like, you know, not smart, but guess what? I have always had food. I've always had shelter. And yes, I've made some pretty rash decisions. So the money will come, but we need to heal the part that's so wounded that you can't allow yourself to receive the money because you're in frenetic, helpless energy, right? And it's going, you're like, no, don't come to me. Don't come. Stop. I'm all crazy and wild over here, right? And crazy and wild is totally cool when you can receive, right?
Yeah.
And when you can make it, and I'm going to say like sexify it a little bit. And I don't mean like modern day Victoria's Secret sexify it. I mean like build your own sense of sensuality around how you receive and grounding that in. And the helplessness is like, it's like a spiral. And I'd love to see you do a piece of art around that, because it's what's disempowered you constantly.
I have done a drawing today.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if you can get back on the screen, or
Oh
I
yeah,
can put it.
I can stop the share. I can see you off to the side, but let's see.
I don't know if this will show. Will it show?
Let's see, I'm gonna put you into Spotlight. Oh, cool. So that's like the heart of it, right?
Yeah, that was this vision that I had when I was at school, and I was very upset. It's kind of little bunched up pink pajama girl in an abyss of space.
I totally see a book. I totally see a book coming out of this.
It's funny you said that, because for years I've had this idea of doing a graphic novel about it.
Yeah.
And it just sits there.
Yeah, I think you need to do that.
Oh God.
What do you have to lose?
All my friends. No, I didn't. It's not true. But I just have still got this massive fear, because there's a lot of shaming at boarding school.
And are these friends from boarding school still your friends?
No.
Okay. So then who
But
cares?
I'm still scared of them.
Okay, but are they real people in your life?
Some of them sort of are, slightly.
And could they bring threat on you?
I think it's possible that I could get some hate mail on social media or something like that.
Okay.
Bad vibes.
So there are a ton of authors out there that write about really dark and stormy things. And they make it more fantasy driven than they do make it reality. So they don't tell it from the first person. They put it 3 people removed, or they create a character. This doesn't have to be like, this was my life journey at boarding school. This can totally just be a story. And if you get the book Big Magic.
Big Magic? Okay.
With Elizabeth Gilbert. This is not for anyone else but you. You're doing this process, and maybe it will get published, and maybe it'll do something.
Yeah, okay.
But this is your creative journey, right?
Yeah.
And we're going to put some context around it so that you can get some sense of ease. And also kind of let the terrorist that's like threatening you, that's real or not. I mean, I've lived with my own terrorist for most of my life until a couple years ago, and it's like, you think it's real. I totally get it. And it doesn't have to be there, right? You can actually ask it to step away. And the way you can sense it in your body when it's there is that feeling of terror.
I've had that massive terror in the last weeks.
Okay, and that's
coming up. Actually, since January, I had this terrifying dream, and since then, and especially last week, it was just like.
Okay, so let's really connect that to the rheumatoid arthritis. Okay, and let's start pulling this together so that you can find a sense of ease inside your body. Because it's like sirens keep going off. And so it's going to just be inflammatory marker after inflammatory marker after inflammatory marker.
Yeah.
And on a real practical level, like take out gluten, take out dairy, take out soy, take out corn, like and sugar. Just like just do it for a month.
I know.
From like, I'm going to just do myself a favor.
Yeah.
So the terror part is keeping you in the helplessness.
Yeah.
Because it's holding you hostage.
Yes.
So if we can allow you the creative expression that you need, which is actually putting this on paper probably, will you give that some time?
Yeah, I can. I've got a book that I started ages ago for this project, and I will just get it out and I'll start adding in things like this.
Yeah, I think just getting it on paper and sort of the exercise of expressing it
Mhm.
so it's not built up inside your head.
Mm.
And again, this doesn't have to be for anyone else until maybe
Yeah.
it comes to fruition, but first steps first, maybe listen, like at the Audible, the audiobook for Big Magic, and then draw while you're doing it. So you're like having a verbal sense of like someone's being like, it's okay to do this because it's just for you, right? And it's like coaxing your creativity regardless of the fear. I know when fear is real, like when it feels threatening, right? I know that sensation. And sometimes it doesn't feel safe to take action.
Yeah.
But if you can do it in a way where it still feels private,
Yeah.
and that it's for you, then you can see what the opportunity for whatever the outcome might be. But I think first step, let's try and reduce the terror load inside your body so you stop feeling so helpless.
Yeah.
How does that resonate?
Yeah, it's right to the bang, to the center of it. So yeah.
Do you want to scream at me though?
No.
You don't? You're not frustrated? You're not like, oh
No.
my God.
No, it's nice. It's good. I needed that, and I was just it's funny that I did that other drawing today. That's
Yeah.
when I looked at the family thing, I knew it was there, but not completely conscious.
Yeah. Yeah. I think just really looking at like staying connected to the physical sensation, that's going to tell you what's really going on.
Okay.
Right? And that's going to actually dictate your action. And when we can start clearing this helplessness, this like, then we can see like, okay, what's the other opportunity here?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome.
Great.
That's cool.
Thank you.
Yay. You guys are awesome. I'm going to unmute you all. See, let me get to that.
Thanks for staying on.
Oh God, yeah, that was totally my I feel like I've been in an alternate universe. I don't know what it is, from snow days to time changes to like, it is what it is. I just realized I have to get my car, which has been put away in a parking lot because of the snow days, but I can't because I have an interview, and so now I have to go get it. Like, anywho, logistics of life.
Yeah.
Reality always strikes.
It does.
So anyone have a last minute burning desire or anything that's coming up? I'm trying to unmute you, Heidi. I don't know why it's there. Okay. Burning desires. Anyone need a
Silky Spider, if you need a no gluten, no dairy, no sugar, no anti-inflammatory, rid your body of the puffiness collaborator team player that isn't going to beat you up but is going to hold you accountable.
Me too.
Okay.
I'll help.
I need to go. Should we run a little group detox? Let's just do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know gluten.
Like a little while ago, you ran a group detox in here.
Yeah, the last one or the one before? No, the last one, I think. I did
No, the one before, I think.
one before, yeah.
Yeah, if you want to do I can't remember. Here's what I'll say. I don't want it to take away from your ability to do the work, but if we keep it in like bite size, like let's just keep clean on our food. I remember you had like the elixirs, your morning elixir, and you had like the food boundaries, and then didn't you have some recipes?
I have some recipes. I have my morning elixir, the cranberry flush. You can start with those sorts of things. And I was just thinking of like sort of doing like very like step down in terms of let's just eliminate processed grain for now and just sort of do it in little chunks so that we're not giving up grain all at once. We're not putting ourselves into a massive head nauseous, curled up in a fetal position detox situation. So
I was a bit overwhelmed by the many things, a food thing is hard for me to change.
Yeah, I hear you. It's a really, it runs deep. So
Mm.
that was more sort of what I was thinking, is like even more baby steps than what I've done in the past.
Right. Yeah, baby steps. So, and I like riff off those, like, do this because I was a health coach for years, and it's like, I don't know. I just sort of like, well, you got to do it, you know. And I'm not the best health coach. Let's just be honest. Not my thing. Heidi's way better at it because I just was in such a rigid, like, you have to do this, and that's the way it goes. So,
Okay.
but yeah, if you can limit some of those things,
Yeah.
super helpful.
Just being mindful of what's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
I
Heidi,
think
I don't
that's
want to
good.
put too much extra work on you though either. Just so,
No, I just think it's a place to check in, you know, and just be like, okay, here we are. I'm still working on eliminating processed grain. And then, you know, working towards eating more whole grains, and then making sure that we're getting enough water. Just like little, like, add in, eliminate some of the things, add in, eliminate.
crowding out.
Okay.
Just so that we can start to sort of put some structure around the things that are causing so much inflammation.
Totally.
And clouding our ability to be the clear channel for the work that we're really trying to do here.
Yeah.
So sugar,
That's
like,
what pain does, is it blocks you from actually being present with yourself.
Yeah. Very tough.
Yeah, I know.
Mm.
I hear you on that one.
Yeah.
So super proud of you guys. It was an awesome, awesome time to connect and learn more about the depths of your story. And I'm going to hold you accountable to some of the work. Helga, is there anything else that you want to say?
Just want to say thank you. Very interesting.
Awesome.
Thank
you.
Yeah, thank you to all of you, really. Yeah.
It's really great to be able to be on a group call where you can really share yourselves in this manner.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
It's vulnerable and it's empowering, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what allows you to step forward into the next phase of who you want to be. So proud of you guys. Thanks. Okay, I'm going to go get dressed up for my interview. I'll see you guys later. Lots of love. Bye. I'll see you on Friday.
Bye-bye.
Fun outfits for us to play with. Bye.